Hey guys, today I am breaking down a list of tasks I do as a bookkeeper. I have a list for all my weekly tasks and then a list of my monthly tasks. So let's get right into it. The weekly tasks, number one is categorize transactions. I kind of think of this as like the bread and butter of bookkeeper tasks because there are definitely a lot more things we can do, but this is the main event, right? So we need to put all of these expenses and deposits that our clients are getting into different categories so that they can pay the correct amount of taxes. And I do have another video called What Does a Bookkeeper Do? Where I actually dive into more of these things in detail and kind of like show you what it looks like. But in this video, I'm focusing more on the schedule and kind of when I do these tasks versus teaching you how to do them. So definitely check out that video. I will leave it in the description box for you. You can watch it after this one. The next thing on my list is pay bills. So this is something that you might want to catch up on more of a weekly or every 2-week basis. So most likely your client is going to have bills coming in different dates throughout the month, and they will want those paid kind of as quick as possible. Usually they don't need to be paid like the same day, but within a week or two is ideal. Number 3 is send out invoices. So a caveat to every single one of these things is this can vary widely by client. So you might have a client that's really small and you only do their books quarterly. So you do it only 4 times a year. Or I've had a client where I just do it once a year. You know, maybe they don't have invoices or they have a different way of invoicing their clients. Maybe their bills are all on auto pay. And the other thing is you're probably not going to do every single one of these tasks for every client. I did a video a couple months ago and I'm just going to show you a screenshot from that video. And this is kind of like my pretend bookkeeper who has 7 clients and some of the tasks they do for each client. So you can see each column is a client. And so for every client, you're going to do a few basic things. You're going to categorize, send reports, and reconcile their bank accounts. But then some clients will have you do invoicing, some will have you do bill pay, some will have you do more or less complex versions of each of these things. So hopefully that helps illustrate the fact that every client is going to look super different. That video is called What Services Do I Do Each Week? There's like a little calendar on the thumbnail. You can also watch that one. I'll leave that linked for you in the description box. All right, so back to my fancy list here. Invoicing just means sending out to your clients how much they owe. So if your client is a painter, maybe 5 people got their houses painted that week, so they need to collect $100 from each person. You are probably emailing them, possibly mailing them a piece of paper, how much money needs to be paid. And make sure you stick around towards the end because I'm gonna kind of map all this out on a calendar, a monthly calendar, to show you kind of how it can be broken down. And I'm also gonna go over some frequently asked questions and then also a bunch of things I didn't put on my list and why I did not put them on my list. If you're wanting some help and motivation for getting those bookkeeping clients, I have a free masterclass that talks about how I got my first 3 clients when I was just starting out. It's totally free, so the link for that will be in the description box. So number 4 for the weekly bookkeeper tasks is record payments. So this means that when someone pays you, one of those people that got their houses painted, they give you that $100, there's going to be some system for marking that invoice paid and being like, okay, we got this money, we got this deposit. So those are the things that you can kind of be doing ongoing as the month is progressing along. And here is my list of monthly tasks that usually I just do about once per month. Number 1 is reconcile with a bank statement. So unless your client is really, really huge, you're probably just going to be reconciling once a month, and that is going to follow the cadence, whatever date your bank gives their bank statements. So I'd say usually it's like the very end of the month or like the 1st, sometimes it's the 5th. Occasionally you'll get a bank that's like in the middle of the month, which is kind of fine, I guess, too. But you're either going to go find that bank statement, grab it, and use it to match, to reconcile everything that's in QuickBooks, or a lot of banks now, QuickBooks automatically feeds in that bank statement, which is really nice as well. So that is your monthly check to make sure things are lining up correctly. Payroll is another thing. My clients run payroll once a month. I think it's also common to run it twice a month, maybe even weekly. I'm not sure if people do that, but you'll definitely know ahead of time the dates that payroll is going to need to be run because that is not flexible. It needs to be very consistent every month. Number 3 is send reports. So a profit and loss and a balance sheet are pretty standard. There could be a whole host of other reports that your client might want to see. Maybe they want to see their owner's draws. Maybe they want to see, what invoices are outstanding. But about once a month, I send reports to my client. And number 4, I put down as a meeting. When you do your onboarding process, you should speak with your client about how often they want to meet with you. Maybe it's quarterly, maybe it's monthly, maybe it's just as needed. So you can bake that into your contract for sure. I haven't yet mentioned that my name is Morgan. My website is finepoints.biz. A thumbs up really does help me out a lot. That will help YouTube show this video to other people who might need it. And I would love it if you subscribe to my channel for a bookkeeper video every single week. So here's kind of like a month overview and how you might divide some of these tasks up. Week 1 is usually when that bank statement comes out. So usually that's going to be my busiest week of the month. So I'm finishing up categorizing any transactions from the previous month that I need to finish up. And then I'm getting the bank statement and I'm reconciling, making sure everything is matched. If there's any issues, I can look into to see what's going on, and then sending those reports to the client. So you can see if you have a whole lot of clients, this week might feel a little overwhelming. So that's why I do recommend that you kind of spread out the other tasks and stay as caught up as possible. Another video I'm just thinking of that might help you guys out that talks about that specifically is something like how to balance multiple clients at the month end. So I'll find that and link that for you too. And we call it month end, but it's usually actually the beginning of the next month. So week 1, you're done, you've got everything sent out to your clients. I usually tell my clients I will get them their reports by the 10th of the month, and I usually try to do it a little sooner than the 10th. So then they are pleasantly surprised, hopefully. Then maybe you designate week 2 as bills and invoices. So any bills that were kind of stacking up or invoices that need to be sent out or kind of piling up. And so you're able to complete those in week 2. Week 3, I schedule any meetings I need to, and then also get caught up on that categorizing. So I'm not stuck doing like a zillion bajillion transactions all at once. And then for this example, I put week 4 as collecting payments. So again, that means following up on those invoices. So who has paid you? Who has paid your client since you sent out invoices, and collect those payments. Sometimes that means running a credit card through your client's payment processor. In some cases, I have been involved in taking deposits to the bank. So whatever their system is for incoming money. And then I put payroll at the end because a lot of times the payroll is like the last Friday of the month or something. And then I repeated bills on here again because that is kind of one of those weekly tasks you want to keep up on. So someone asked me a question about adjusting entries, a trial balance, month close tasks. So for me personally, this isn't usually a part of my process. When I work with larger clients that have like an accountant or a controller involved in the process, those are tasks that that person does. Let me know in the comments if you have more experience about those items, so adjusting entries and that type of thing, and if you deal with that as a bookkeeper or if that's more an accounting or tax preparer job. And some of these bookkeeper lists say things in more like technical terms. So like I saw something that said review aged receivables. Receivables just means that money that your client is receiving. So the invoices, the payment on those invoices, that $100 from each of those people that had their houses painted. So my point here is I try to use really clear and simple language, but sometimes you're going to see things phrased differently, but you know what it means in simple terms, so don't lose confidence. And the other things that clients may have you do that I didn't include are budgets. So I very occasionally do budgets, mainly for nonprofits. That's kind of like a whole nother thing. Same with receipt management. I try not to do that now. I have a video, part 1 and part 2, about receipt management that you can check out if you want to search for that on my channel, as well as inventory. So I haven't had a client where I have tracked inventory. I learned how to do it when I was first, taking bookkeeper classes, but I haven't actually used it in practice. And I also didn't mention anything that has to do with taxes. So sometimes I'll check in with my client's tax preparer if their income is a lot different than expected and their quarterly taxes might be affected. And also in January, you get the fun task of creating 1099s if that is one of the tasks that you are doing for clients. And that is for contractors. That is like their tax form they get at the end of the year to show how much they have been paid.